Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
All right. She's not one, but a two-time New York Times bestselling author, recovering investment banker. I know plenty of those, that's certainly for sure. And basically, the person that I go to in these situations where I need to know whether the Trump accounts are a good investment or a bad investment. Carol, break it down for the layman's at home and then tell me whether I should put my kids, 12 and 10, into this. The floor is yours.
Sure. Well, there are a couple of different components to this, but if you think about a Trump account at sort of the highest level, it's basically a tax-advantaged investment account. So it's sort of like a custodial traditional IRA. So it's an opportunity for families to start saving for their youngins, while they're young, and it doesn't have the work requirement of a regular IRA. So I'm the kind of person, I think that if you are creating an investment as a habit over the long term, that is always a good thing. Now, the one distinction that I think has confused a lot of people is that newborns are getting a bonus of, I think it's $1,000, depending if you were born after January 1st, 2025 for the next few years. That's getting a bonus from the government, which I don't love because I don't think we can afford to do that. There are other entities who are stepping up to help with that. So I'm not as huge of a fan as the bonus, but in terms of your eligibility to open one, you don't have to have a newborn. As long as your kid is under the age of 18, you can open up this investment vehicle, and the opportunity to put up to $5,000, that's the current max, away a year on a tax-advantaged basis, tax-deferred basis, is a good thing.
Now, do you believe in Scott Bessent? In other words, you obviously follow the economy better than anybody, but this guy seems to be the MVP of the Trump administration as far as he's successful. What he has guided at this point in terms of the economy seems to be the right way. When he says that if you invest in this, that you could have possibly $1 million by the time you get out of, let's say, college, if you invest in this as a parent to the max. Is that something that you believe in, or you tell me the pitfalls in here?
So, first of all, Scott Bessent is far and away the MVP. He's the Michael Jordan. He's the multi-year MVP of the administration, and the administration is very lucky to have him. And he's smart. He's on top of things. He knows the pitfalls, and I think, in general, he does a pretty good job of explaining things. So the only thing I would say in terms of his explanation is obviously the gains are going to be dependent on how you invest. Are you invested in the broader market, and what are those market returns? Now, anybody who invests in the market knows that past performance is not indicative of future performance, and certainly we are in uncharted territory. But what we do know is that money compounds over time, and so putting something away and continuing to invest and hopefully getting some gains that compound, it could be that amount, it could be less, it could be more, but it's an excellent habit. And at the end of the day, your kids are going to end up with more than if you took that money and instead, spend it on nonsense around your house.
I couldn't agree more. And here's CNBC, your former network, Cut 14 guys, giving the Trump administration credit for having the first trade deficit under 30 billion since, I don't know, forever. I guess, 16 years is forever. This is Cut 14. Go.
We're not done yet, folks. We have the trade balance. This is a November number, and we have to give the administration some credit. This has been going down huge. Expecting minus 44 billion. It comes in at minus 56 billion. More than expected. Minus 56 will be the biggest going back to July of last year when it was basically around 74 with a minus sign. And another notable, in the rearview mirror, minus 29.4 becomes minus 29.2. And, boy, that's unbelievable. You know, the last time we had a deficit under 30 billion, equivalent to this year, going back to 2009.
All right. So your thoughts on that report there, Carol? I mean, things are going pretty well.
Well, I love Rick Santelli and love his enthusiasm about everything.
A lot of enthusiasm, yes.
And if you are a fan of reducing the trade deficit, this is a good thing. But let me tie it back to what we were just talking about with the stock market. Ray Dalio, who is a former hedge fund magnate, a multi-billionaire, super smart guy, he said on CNBC at Davos that on the opposite side of trade wars are capital wars. So we can leverage trade and access to our big economy and all of the consumers. But what foreign countries have is that they have a ton of investments. It's $27 trillion on net that they have invested. I think China and Japan alone is around 20 or 21 trillion in our stock markets and in our bond markets. And so that means that if they don't like what we are doing on trade, they can turn around and pull capital out of our markets, which we know would have effects of having our stock market go down or the yields that we're paying on debt go up. So we have to be careful. This is not we have all the leverage situation and we can just, say this is a good thing. We have to look at sort of the 360-degree view, and we're in a very precarious situation. So, we need the stock market to continue to go up. It's critical for government revenue. And so hopefully there's a balance between making sure that we have more free and more fair trade, but that we also are not seeing other companies flex all of that capital that they have invested here in the United States that could impact the wealth, the cost of our debt, and other things.
Very good. So let's change the whole course here right now, Carol, because serious conversation to this point, you and me. Let's go through the top 100. 100. We don't have a lot of time. Let's go through the top 10 comedies of all time. All right?
Oh,
I'll give you my top 5. All right.
Okay.
Forget top 10. I'm going, boy, I loved Caddyshack as number 1. I loved Stripes as number 2. Now, that's a Bill Murray thing. I know I'm on a roll here. Ghostbusters, number 3. Naked Gun, number 4. And then number 5, There's Something About Mary. How about you?
Interesting. All right. So number 1, if anybody follows me on X/Twitter, my number 1 is Airplane. Because every week it's the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. And Joe, Airplane. If you put Naked Gun
I've used
on your
that on
list,
Fox.
Airplane should be number 1. That's just
maybe you're right. Okay.
That's straight up. Obviously, I love a lot of the ones that you threw out there. Coming to America, I know it's not like the straight-up gag fest, but just in terms of a lighthearted, super well-written movie, absolutely love that. If we can go into the rom-com genre, I'm going to
can I stop you there for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
So you don't have Beverly Hills Cop or 48 Hours. You don't have that before Coming to America. Am I correct on that?
Those are both great, hilarious movies. Beverly Hills Cop. I quote the Serge, that particular little thing all the time, that little scene, and make people watch it all the time because absolutely hilarious. But I think Coming to America, and frankly, Trading Places, because I'm a Wall Street gal, so I've got to throw that up there.
Sure.
If I'm going to get into the rom-com genre, which you would never make today, 16 Candles absolutely has to be up
John
there.
Hughes, yeah.
And then, maybe we got to throw like an Animal House in there.
Yeah. Oh boy, you're right about that.
You know,
John Belushi at his
Right?
best. Yep. Nope.
So-
boy.
but you know,
I don't
what
think
I
you
will
could
say,
confine it
so
to
it's
5.
interesting.
I think you're right about that.
Neither of us has said anything that's been made in the last 2 decades, which just goes to show how everyone, including Hollywood, has lost their sense of humor, and that is a shame. Because you go back, and the best comedies, were center of the plate 80s, with some in the 70s and some in the 90s.
You're so true about that. I mean, Wolf of Wall Street, I don't think was a comedy.
No,
It's more, I don't know quite what it was.
Abomination.
It is. It's Scorsese. I get it. I thought it was tremendous. Margot Robbie, Leonardo DiCaprio, Bo Dietl, who obviously has to show up in every movie by Mr. Scorsese. But no, you're right about that. Fargo, is that a comedy?
It's a dark comedy, right? So
Yeah.
that's a dark comedy. That's its own genre. We would have to kind of go through things that are in that specific genre. It's hard to throw Fargo up against Caddyshack.
How about Office Space? I mean, with Rob Livingston, that's a great movie as well. But
Cult
Trading Places,
classic.
did you bring that up?
No, I didn't. It's a cult classic. It's a great movie, but in terms of if I'm looking to laugh and be entertained and watch it, 12 times in a row, it's probably not that movie.
Okay. How about
Yeah.
Fletch or, I don't
Yeah.
know, any Chevy Chase movie from the early 80s,
mean,
whether we're talking about
Caddyshack we
Spies
quote
Like
all
Us,
the time.
I think is very underrated.
Yeah, Caddyshack we quote all the time. I don't know how you can't, but I do think it's very era specific. Also, gotta love the triple Lindy of Back to School. If you want to have the Rodney Dangerfield, who's so underrated today, we go back and watch his Carson clips all the time, and that's another one that's really great.
All right. Dumb and Dumber. Where does that rank? Like top 20?
I mean, it's probably in the top 50 to 100, but
I knew you were going
I
to
think
go
we could
there.
come up
That's great.
with a good 50 movies that are funnier than Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And we
Yeah.
appreciate you coming here, by the way. Any others, a dark kind of, horse that we're missing here, like Superbad or Step Brothers, I don't know, Kingpin?
Oh, you know which one I love is The Wedding Crashers. That's one that I could just watch over and over, because that's for me is it doesn't have to be the best movie, but is it consumable? And the amount of times that I can consume and laugh at The Wedding Crashers is just, it's off the charts.
Can I tell you, that movie makes no sense if you look at it realistically. In other words, so there is a wedding that happens that Vince Vaughn and the Wilson brother, which one was it again? Owen, thank you, not Luke. Owen. They crash it. By the afternoon, they're back home playing football, I guess on some sort of coast of Maryland type of thing. What wedding ends at 2 o'clock where the same day you're playing football and then you're saying, crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does. As a Maryland guy, I get it completely. But in the end, a great movie. No, I agree with you completely. Great cast, Vince Vaughn. Who else we have in there? It was the
Rachel McAdams.
Oh, that's my hall pass.
Oh no, and you forgot her? That's not great.
Well, it's been a while. Yeah, so my wife has had Tom Brady since 2000 and I don't know. We started dating in 2006, I'll call it. Always Tom Brady. I've gone through 8 different hall passes, but Rachel McAdams, I that was my first one. You're right about that. Yeah, it's not good. Did you ever have a hall pass there?
No, I like my husband. I'm going to just stick with him.
Oh, see, that's a safe pass.
Yeah. You know what we didn't talk about? I'm embarrassed for us. Is we didn't talk about Christopher Guest satirical comedies. We didn't talk about Spinal Tap and Best in Show and that whole genre.
How about Some Like It Hot? Does that count?
I mean, now we're digging really.
We're going real back. I understand. I never saw Spinal Tap. That's what I'm saying. There's a certain time I didn't see, so that's what I'm going through. How about Annie Hall? We'll leave it there.
What about Birdcage? Birdcage was pretty funny.
With
Robin Williams and Hank Azaria, Gene Hackman.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'll buy that.
Nothing beats Airplane, Joe. I'm just going to put it out there. You can say whatever it is. Nothing's going to beat
number
Airplane.
one on the Joe Concha Show list. All right, it's done. And I picked the wrong time to stop sniffing glue. Thank you, Carol Roth. We're going to leave it there.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.